One of the biggest fears that massage therapists has isn't whether or not they're going to get enough clients. It's actually how long they can keep doing this. Can I keep doing this in my 50s and in my 60s? Will my hands wear out? Will I get arthritis in my hands? Will I get shoulder pain? Will my shoulders wear out? Will I be able to keep doing this, or will I need to get a second career? Will I have to give up on the thing that I love and do something totally different because my hands, my elbows, my shoulders have worn out? Instead of listening to the myths, and you may have heard these myths, is that the average therapist only has 3 years and then they're worn out. I mean, I've heard that being thrown about for years, and I'm 15 to 17 years deep now, right? So you can 100% do more than 3 years, but instead of listening to the myths, I decided I wanted to listen to what you had to say, and I found a thread on Facebook with hundreds upon hundreds of comments. Somebody had simply asked the massage therapist of the world, how long can you keep doing this? Because they had that fear, you see. They had the fear that the hands were going to wear out, the shoulders were going to wear out, the knees, the back, whatever. They had a fear that they wouldn't be able to continue doing this into a ripe old age. And I started reading the comments, and it surprised me. I fully expected people like myself saying, yeah, it's fine. I'm in my 40s, I've been doing it 10, 15 years. I even expected people in the 50s to say they don't have a problem. But there were people in the 60s that had been doing it 20, 30 years. There were people in the 70s that had still been doing it, still practicing. There are even people commenting in the mid to late 80s saying that they are still practicing massage. Let that sink in. They have gone beyond retirement age, and yet they are still practicing some form of massage or body work beyond 80. That is immense, and that's what I want to do, and I'm sure that's what you want to do. So let's talk about how this can work. And to be honest, this reconfirmed what I've got as a plan. You see, my plan has always been, right now, I do 4 days, and on them 4 days, I will have between 6 and 7 slots available per day. Now, I've said I'm actually going to cap it soon at a max of 6. I think that's enough for any therapist out there. 4 days a week, that's 24 treatments a week, 24 hours of hands-on work. But then when I get into my 50s, I figured I'd drop it down a little bit, and I might do 5 a day over 4 days. So that takes a little bit of the burden off. Hopefully by that point, I've got other income streams, which, like my YouTube channel, and I can sort of take it steadier a little bit and drop it down to 5 a day. And then when I'm in my 60s, I'm going to drop it down to 4 a day. And then when I'm in my 70s, rather than retiring, I think I'll just go part-time. I think I might do 3 people a day for 3 days. So I've got a maximum of 9. By that point, people will be calling me Grandmaster Shane. Yes. And paying me a fortune. Yes. Probably not. I'll still be Shane. I'll still be that daft lad that does massage and does Shiatsu treatments. And, make some clients laugh and some clients think I'm amazing. Who knows? But I'll be doing 9 in my 70s. And if I make it into my 80s, I might drop down to 2 days and just do 3 a day. So I'm still working. That was my plan. And this has reconfirmed it. This has reconfirmed that people are doing exactly that. Rather than retiring, they are slowing down and simply doing less treatments. I'm sure I read there was a lady who was in her 80s who's still doing 9 treatments a week. Now here's the key. Everybody over 60 that said they were only seeing 3 clients a day or 4 clients a day. So everyone on that group that had replied over the age of 60 had reduced the amount of clients they're seeing. But not only have they reduced the amount of clients they see, they take the health very seriously. So the strength training, the swimming, the cycling, they're doing yoga. So they're doing exercises to keep the body fit and strong so they can keep working. Personally, I do a lot of walking. I also do 3 kettlebell sessions a week. I used to do boxing and kickboxing, but I've sort of come away from that now. And I work out with a kettlebell. Yes, I'm a little bit overweight, but my arms and my shoulders, they're still strong. And I intend to carry on doing kettlebells or going to the gym and do bigger weight, more strength training based exercises, particularly as I get older. I mean, I'm doing 3 times a week now. That's a good amount for me. I might up it to 4. And likewise, I'm going to continue doing that in my 50s, in my 60s, in my 70s. Did you see a fly go flying past? It's been in my clinic for nearly a week now. Can't seem to quite get rid of it. It leaves my clinic, out my treatment, and it flies around my shop. Does my nutting. Anyway, back to the video. So that's my plan, is never to retire as such, but slow things down. And obviously, as you slow things down, you might even not want to take on any new clients. Maybe you've got such a pool of clients that they become your friends over time, and realistically, you're just hanging out with your friends and they're paying you to hang out. Pretty cool, right? That brings us on to another thing. Burnout. I've been there. I've seen it. I've done it. Right? I know people not just that are massage therapists, but are in other professions, from barbers to sports therapists. I know a girl who's a sports therapist, right? And she's massively in demand. And she never said no to nobody. And she would work smashing out 8 to 10 treatments a day. And then every few months, she'd just go, bang. She'd be no good. And it'd take her a week to recover, right? And then after that week, she'd go out again, full speed. Next client. Next client. That's what you do when you're speeding it through different clients. Anyway, you get my idea. So she was doing 8 to 10 clients a day. And now she's got to her 50s. And she decided she didn't want to do that anymore. So she's retrained and got a different job in something totally different. Absolutely, completely different. I also know a barber that used to do the same thing. Start work at 9. He'd work till 6. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. 6 days a week. Chop, 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 chop. Never having a day off. Chop, 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 chop. And you know what happened? It burned out every couple of months. I even did that. So at Christmas, I decided that I was going to do like a rollback special. I was rolling back my price. Ironically, I need to actually double my price from what it was at Christmas. So I rolled back my price and I was doing 7 to 8, pretty much 8 a day, 4 days a week. Plus on a Friday I was filming for YouTube. Plus I ended up coming in on a Saturday and doing maybe another 4 or 5. And I was going at it. You know what happened? Come January time, I got ill. for about a week, and which, you know, it was fine. I recovered, but then the bookings. What actually happened is I ended a surge of bookings then, because of all these people that had not been in ages but that came for £50, and they still wanted another treatment in January. So I did even more in January. But then what it meant, because I was ill for a week, I had to squeeze them in somewhere else. So in January, I ended up doing another load more clients than normal. Off again I go. And exactly the same thing. 3 week down the line, I got ill. And I will this time for about maybe a week again. I reckon a week. And at the end of it, I sat there and I reflected and I thought, I'm doing too much. I'm burning out. And that's the thing, you know, if you do, it's all well and good doing a special offer, but not at the expense of your own health. I did it, and you know what, I was enjoying it. I was getting a buzz out of seeing this many clients, but I was also getting home and I was so tired that I'd eat my tea and just fall asleep. Then I'd get up the next day and do it all again. That's not a way to live, is it? I mean, today's a bit of a different day. I've had somebody cancel a 2-hour session, so I'm filming this. And this is a good use of time, is filling slots up by being creative, maybe coaching a little bit, talking and waffling on camera maybe, who knows, right? But my point is you don't want to burn out. So the kid and that them messages on that Facebook post really confirmed that if you take it steady, you will stay in this business for a long time. If you're the tortoise, right, and you plod along, you can stay as a therapist for a very long time. If you're the hare and you go full throttle, and say you are doing 8, 9, 10 treatments a day, maybe possible, I don't know, I've never done 10, right? Which it is, because a friend of mine, she does festivals, and she'll do 10 a day for 3 days while she's at that festival. Earn a lot of money. But then, you know, then she'll be knackered for a week, won't she? So, who knows? But anyway, so if you do 10 clients a week and you're doing that for a few months, or maybe even a couple of years, what's going to eventually happen? Your body's going to start breaking down. You're going to fatigue of it. You're going to burn out. You might even stop enjoying doing it anymore. So it's better to plod along at 5, maybe even 4, 5, 6 clients a day, for as many days as you want, right? And just be nice and steady away. And as you age, reduce it a little bit. Reduce the amount you do. And hopefully by the time you're in your late 60s and 70s, your pension kicks in anyway, so you don't have to do as many. And in order to look after your body, you've got to take into account your mechanics, your body mechanics. Too many therapists use pure, raw, hard strength when the client's body doesn't respond to hard strength. Instead, you want to focus on the quality of your touch, sinking in, move slowly, moving from what's called your hara, your belly. Move, keep your arms and your elbows and your wrists soft. Sink into the client. Feel their energy, feel their chi, right? Allow the muscles time to relax and let you in rather than forcing your way in with a hammer. Because forcing your way in with a hammer, if you're going hard into that client, they're going to tense up. They're not going to let you in, so then you're forcing your way in, which you think that extra restriction against you is going back through your joints. That's not good either, is it? So, quality of touch and good mechanics and slowing down as we age is the key to keep going. Obviously, adding in some exercise as well. The other thing, other than actually physically retiring from massages, I think a lot of therapists evolve as well. So yes, they might suddenly be doing 1 or 2 days of hands-on therapy, but they might evolve into doing something completely different. Maybe they've evolved into practices that are as hard on your wrists and your hands, such as acupuncture. In fact, my old teacher said to us when I was first training, I was just 18, he said, you learn acupuncture when you're too fat and lazy to do Shiatsu. And I thought it was funny at the time. I thought it was that funny. I remember it 25 years later, right? And I get what he's saying. He's not saying that acupuncturists are fat and lazy, so I don't think that. What he's saying is it's less strenuous on the body doing something like acupuncture than doing hands-on work. You pop the needles in, you go have a cup of tea, you come back, you take the needles out, job done. In a very simplistic way. Acupuncturists don't all start flicking your needles at me. Don't really need that today. Or maybe you've took up doing sound baths. That could be another way. You could be doing sound baths, in which case all you're doing is getting your little sound bowl going and putting it around the client's head, or maybe you're whacking a gong, boing, boing. Anyway, I'm not saying that sound people don't do anything. I'm just saying that you do more of this than hands-on work, so it's going to be less tiring. Or maybe you've moved into coaching, which is what I'd like to do. I've done a little bit of coaching over the last couple of years with both therapists who want to get on YouTube. I've also helped therapists who are new out the starting block and wanted some help building their clientele and the business and understanding social media. I've also helped a few clients that flies back again. Right? I've also helped a few clients build up a YouTube channel. And if that's something you might be interested in, I can help you, and I can help you with a little bit of coaching. And I will drop the link to my online coaching link below. But what I'm saying is, retirement, even if your hands start going, you don't have to completely retire from the world. You could move on to something less strenuous, but you're still helping people in a different kind of way. Now, I'm hoping that by the time I get into my sort of 60s, I'm able to do 2 or 3 days hands-on, maybe a day where I just do coaching. Who knows? Let's see how things unfold. If I was starting as a new therapist today, there's a few things I'd do differently. One being, I wouldn't start cheap. I'd literally find out what other therapists are charging, and then I'd come in near the top end. Yep, no experience, near the top end. And the reason being is you don't want to diminish what training you've had and what skills you've got, right? So go in at top end, and then you're not having to rise them as frequently. In fact, as I mentioned earlier, I'm reevaluating my own prices, and I'm going to be jumping my price up significantly in the next few weeks. And it's not your usual a couple of pound or £5 here increase. We're looking at £20 increase, because cost of living is going up so much, hasn't it? Anyway, so that's one of the things I'd do, is I wouldn't start off thinking, I don't know, say the average therapist in your area is charging 70 quid. And you think, well, I ain't got the experience, I'm going to come in at 50 quid. Don't do that. Just charge 70. Straight from the off. Charge 70 and get straight in there, and then just rise it each year. Don't do what I did and get stuck with not rising your prices, and then you end up too cheap for what you actually are. And then you're playing catch up. So that's one of the things I'd do differently. The other thing is I'd be looking at creating secondary incomes. Now, I've got a few. So I've got my YouTube channel. That brings in like a background income. It's almost like a retirement plan, I guess. There's always a little bit of money coming in from the ad revenue. Now, a sensible person, when I started getting that, I should have invested it in like a pension. And then when I get to retirement age, I've got all that money that's come from YouTube into a pension. Boom, I'm laughing. Right? But I didn't. In fact, I just spend it. Anyway, that's what I would do if I was starting again. The problem is you get more money, your outgoings tend to increase, which is what mine have done. Is I've got more money, my outgoings have increased. So if YouTube, the minute it started coming in, if I'd sent it straight out in a pension pot, that'd have been an ideal solution for me, I think. But then there's not just YouTube. You could keep products and sell them to your clients. Like I've tried all sorts of products over the years. What I tend to do is I keep products in that I like. Right, so that's one way you can earn extra money as a therapist. You could also earn extra money teaching classes, right? Your local health centres, you could do meditation classes, or you could do how to protect your back, or there's loads of different ideas you come up with. Or you could do one-day coaching. I've done one-day coaching. It can be a fun experience. The other thing I'd do if I was starting again, I wouldn't do any of this stupidness of doing too many clients in one day, ever. Like, if you could take one thing away from this video, right, firstly, not to leave the door open when you know there's a fly flying around the shop, because it's coming, right, but if you could take one thing away, is don't do too much too soon, right? You've almost got to train your body as you go. Like when we came out of COVID, for about a year, I was only doing 4 a day and I was leaving a half an hour break. Well, that's enough. You know what? Because I've not done any treatment during COVID, just doing 4, I was zapped, I was knackered. And then after a year, it built up to 5, and I felt comfortable at 5, and then eventually we got to 6. And every now and again, I push it with 7, but 6 is a comfy number, 5 is not a bad number, 4 is a dead easy number, right? So, but you've got to build it up, build it up, build it up, build it up. Likewise, you want to also spend some time learning and working on your own body mechanics. If it wasn't part of your training, go somewhere and study it. Go somewhere and learn it. That is a key lesson. So the question isn't really, when should I retire? Or how should I retire? It should be more, your real question should be, how do I build up a massage business that I still love at 70? Right? That you can still love what you do and what you practice at 70. And the key thing there is looking after yourself from day one. Look after yourself so that you can then look after your clients.